All right, so this is a completely fresh Windows account. I will be installing my program from scratch. First thing you want to do, download this program. I'd highly recommend installing Git and not downloading it from the zip file, because having Git will just make it a lot easier to update in the future. So to do that, we'll install Git, go to this link, scroll to Windows since I'm on Windows, click here to download, and download the installer, then run it. This brings up the installer. Agree to all these things. This is a perfectly fine place to go. The defaults should be fine. And yeah, Vim is fine. Defaults are fine. Recommended settings are fine. Windows checkout style, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Defaults are fine. And install. Cool. Now that it's installed, we can go here and we can get this HTTPS to clone it. We'll open the command prompt. We will do cd downloads to enter our downloads folder. This is equivalent from going from users Yelbuzz to double-clicking downloads, but in the command prompt. And from there, we'll type git clone and then right-click to paste the link that I copied from here, this link, and enter. So make a new file in downloads, Warframe Algorithmic Trader, that has all of the things listed here on this app. Now we can start with the installation instructions. So I'll be going through method A first, through Docker, and then method B through doing it from source. With Docker, you go to this link, get desktop for Windows, get Docker desktop for Windows. For Docker desktop, you need to enable virtualization support from the BIOS. Most modern hardware can enable this, but it usually, or I don't know if usually, but sometimes it isn't enabled by default. So that could be difficult for you to do, and I will link a post describing how to do that. Now that I have this, you can click this and install Docker desktop. It says existing installation is up to date. Docker desktop is something more global, so that's something that's already on my other account. It works here. I can go here and click Docker desktop to open it. I get an error in the bottom right. You're not allowed to use Docker. You must be in the Docker users group. So that's the error here. We click the Stack Overflow post to see what to do. From here, all you have to do is follow this guy's instruction. It says run this command from an administrator command window where your user ID is your local Windows username. So for me, that's Yelbuzz, because that's what I see right here under Yelbuzz. So I'll open a command prompt as administrator. I will copy their instructions, go to your user ID, and type Yelbuzz. Completed successfully, so I can close this now, and I should be able to open Docker Desktop. Now it says you need to log out of your Windows, and then your user's membership will be taken into account. So I'll do that and then come back. So I'm back, and the last thing I've done was add myself to the Docker users group, and I should be able to open the Docker Desktop now. which I will accept their agreement and continue without signing in. I'm using this for learning or teaching. And once the Docker engine started, we can go straight to step 1 for initialization. Okay, now that the Docker engine has started, we can open a command prompt. You can cd downloads Warframe Algorithmic Trader and run this command, just straight copy paste. What this does is, since it can't find Python locally, it gets a containerized version of Python and installs it to run init.py. From here, we can go straight to setup. We can skip all the other from source options. So this starts with adding things to the config.json, which you can open by going in your folders, downloads, Algo Trader, and you have a new file, config.json, which was just made after init.py ran. So this, we can just edit it with Notepad++ for now. I will type in all my actual credentials to this. I'll get to the push button stuff after installing this both ways from scratch. So, I'm Yelbows on PC. The next hard part that some people have is to get the JWT token. So to do that, we'll go to this guide and just follow it. Log into Warframe.market. Okay, I'm logged in. Pull up the developer console, Control-Shift-I. Navigate to this tab storage here. And under cookies, go to the cookies for the Warframe.market domain, which is here. Select the cookie called JWT. It will be this whole token, entire thing, starting with JWT, space, and then the value. So it'll be in here, JWT, space. Copy this, paste it here. It's extremely long. Close that. Close that. Close this. Now, we're done with the setup. We can go straight to running with Docker. You run docker compose up -- build right in here. Oh, playing it out bit. And it will start building the application, which we can just connect to right away. So Docker is an incredibly quick way to do this. The first time you run this, it'll take a while since it has to install everything from scratch. But the second time you run it, or any future time you run it, it'll be much faster since everything it needs to be installed is already in the container. So we can see that application startup is complete. Now to access the site, we go to localhost 3000. This is my stats. If I run the stats reader, we can see in this console that it starts a connection to Warframe Market, starts a progress bar, which will be updated over time, containing all item data. You can see that all item data, the original file was wrote to all item data backup, and this is going to write to a new file called all item data, which will overwrite this backup once it finishes. You can run the other things while the stats reader is running. So if I run, I'm going to lower some settings just to make this faster. If we go to the settings.json, I'll lower this to 1 for demonstration purposes. And I'll say that I bought an Arcane Guardian for like 200. Start this. Here, we can see that it started a connection to Warframe Market. It says that I'm interested in it's first deleting all the current orders on my account. Once those are all deleted, it says automatically posted sell order for 210. And since I got a 200 here, everything is good. If I refresh this, Arcane Guardian will appear on both ends. So it's exactly that simple to get it to run from here, from Docker. I'll close all the Docker things now and start over and run it from source. So to do this, I will close Docker by going here, quit Docker desktop, close this. No, I don't want to reload it. Then I'll delete this whole installation. And I can't because it's open in this command window. And I'll delete this whole installation. Okay. Now restarting it from source. You go to command window. You go to the directory you want to download it under. You clone it with a git clone. I accidentally put a bracket. Then you go to this initialization from source. It says 2 requirements, Python and Node.js. Pushbullet I'll be going over later at the end. For Python, we do Python 3 install, download Python. We want 3.11. Click the installer. We want to add a python.exe to the path. This is very important for everything to run. Click install now. Setup was successful, which is good. When stuff is being added to your path, sometimes you need to exit the command windows and open new ones. So the other requirement is Node.js. You just click the link that I provided, Windows installer. Click the MSI. Yes, it's an executable, but that's okay. I mean, in general, no, but this is a trusted distribution. Defaults are fine. Yeah, defaults are fine. All right, it's been installed. Since it probably added something to my path, I'm going to exit this command prompt again and open a new one with all the environment variables hopefully updated, and continue with the steps. So cd downloads, cd Warframe Algorithmic Trader, and then run pip install -r requirements.txt. Now that it's finished installing, the next step is to manually run pip install unicorn, which will run the API. All right. We cd my app, then npm install to set up the front end. npm install worked. We can return to the top level of the project, run python init.py, and this will create the new inventory config and logs file. To edit the config, we will open this new empty config.json file, put in your name, platform, and then continue with setup. So, getting the JWT token is the thing after those things. We follow this guide right here. We log in to Warframe.market with our favorite browser. You Control-Shift-I to bring up the console. Go to the storage tab here. Go to Warframe.market under cookies, and it'll be this JWT token. You copy this token and paste it here under JWT space paste. And that's your whole token. That's all you have to do. You close it, and you're ready to post orders to your Warframe Market account. We return here. I'll go over the Pushbullet things later, and go to running from source. You can run the startall.bat or the file or the commands individually to run the API and front end separately. But startall should work. It'll bring up two command prompts, one with the API and one with the front end. The front end is running, and you can see that the API starts receiving calls. The local API starts receiving calls from the front end. So, as before, I will just click the live updater. We'll see what goes on here, and we'll see that it deletes my orders successfully, and since it deletes them successfully, it can also post them successfully. So it starts the API connection. These 200s are good. These 200s mean things are successful. And I refresh here. The Arcane Guardians are gone, and an Arcane Fury appears. So that's all there is to it if you're installing from source. Also not very difficult. To close these, you hit Control-C here, Control-C here, then type Y, and it's all stopped. If you want to get Pushbullet now, you go to Pushbullet, the website, follow the instructions here for Pushbullet. Where we sign in with Google. And then the token for your device will be the token that shows up here. You will just copy this into your config.json into the device token. And then for the access token, you go to settings and click create access token and copy the full token that appears when you click that. So that's all there is to it. That's both ways of installing and how you get the Pushbullet tokens for both. Thanks. Hope this helps some of y'all.